Well, it's look, you're right. It is a pretty eclectic mix musically, and I think some of that's just because I'm a little bit. I that's the fun thing about having a solo project is that you get to step out and explore those realms, things you couldn't do in your other bands. So that's I wanted to make sure that I embarked on some of those sonic journeys while I could. And as far as the material, it was definitely informed by last year. Obviously a unique time in our history, and so there was plenty to write about where it was just really reflecting what was going on. I think it was just revealing how it was affecting me and from an emotional standpoint, and looking at the world around me, and really just trying to make sense of it all. Just in a way, it ended up being really cathartic for me, and hopefully it'll be cathartic for a listener. Well, the biggest change is a little more plugged in. It's a little louder. There's still the acoustic element, but I wanted to play more guitar. I wanted to do a lot more lead, a lot more improvisation on the guitar, because that's where I started. It's fascinating how life has turned out for me, that I'm like known as more of a singer. And my friends, when I was coming up the ranks as a young musician, they just knew me as a guitar player. So I wanted to get back to my roots. And as far as the difference between Year of the Tiger, really the narrative is very different. That was very autobiographical in the sense the songs were inspired by things that happened to me when I was a kid, happened to my family. This record is more about what is happening to all of us, and looking at, it's more of a the, I guess, exterior forces in the universe and how that was affecting me emotionally and my family. So definitely different there. Nice. All right. Cool. I'm down with that. I think my favorite, it changes because I always say this. It's always like trying to pick your favorite kid. But I'm growing to really like Moonshot, and it took me a while to come around on that. I initially didn't even know if it would make the record because it was written really quickly early on in the process. I was essentially just kind of trying to dust off the cobwebs and get back into writing mode. And I think it was one of the first songs that I demoed and everything. And it was written like in 2 hours. It was very quick. And I thought, and sometimes when you write it that fast, you're like, oh, it can't be any good. There are other songs like the title track, like Ides of March, took 6 months to write. So, so it's always nice when I hear somebody say they like that song, because I'm like, oh, okay, well, there you go. 2 hours wasn't wasted. Yeah, I felt like, it's interesting because that song initially, the genesis of it came before I'd set aside time to write. So it happened in January of last year, and I was waking up from a dream. And as I was waking up, sometimes when you wake up, you have real clarity, and this melody popped into my head, still kind of in the dream state, we'll just be on the horizon. I didn't really have any lyrics. I just had this melody. I thought, I kind of like that. I'm going to get up and record that real quick. And so I knew it was, maybe a cool part. And as I kept going back and revisiting it and adding parts to it, I thought, oh, this could be kind of the foundation of the record. So I handled it with kid gloves. I really wanted to make sure that I put my best foot forward, because I felt like it was going to kind of define the record. So I didn't want to screw it up. Well, it's really about, kind of just this general state of things, just the general mood, the general sense of uncertainty that is prevalent in the world today. Now, look, as humans, it's probably always been that way. No matter, you could, rewind to any time in history, and there's always going to be that part of the equation. But it just seemed a little heightened to me. It does at this point. So I chose to write about it, but yet end the song on more of an optimistic, with an optimistic view, and with an answer there, at least for me, to try and maintain. There's a line. My favorite line on the record is "Cool heads prevail in times of change," and I think that really has turned out to be like a really useful mantra in my day-to-day life. So yeah, that song. That's an important one for me. Yeah, it's really just to kind of chill out, you know? And I'm somebody who's hardwired in such a way where I've always had a little bit of anxiety and a little bit, I don't want to say I'm not high strung, but I certainly need to be reminded. There's the key line in the chorus is, cool down, baby, you're going to burn out in time. And it's the idea, if you keep going at it, with such intensity and stressing about things and overthinking things, it's like an old tube amp, like as guitar players will know this. If you turn up an old tube amp and you turn it on as high as it'll go, and it's like working it's working the hardest it can. Well, you're going to burn out those tubes. Those tubes burn out quicker. So it's the idea of turning it down, kind of bring the volume down and chill out and keep calm and carry on. Oh, geez. They're totally different. They're totally different approaches. I think that each one lets me scratch an itch. With Alter Bridge, it's more, I play guitar in that realm, so that's always good. Anybody who knows me well knows that's the thing that makes me happiest in the universe. So there's that. But with Slash, it's more blues based, and I love that. I love singing over that. So when he hands me some music and then I put my melody and my lyric to it, it's always like it's so different from what Alter Bridge does. I think if both of them were more similar, it would become redundant. And now I've got the solo stuff as well. So it's like I feel like I can, in the solo thing, I can make country songs if I want. It's just I'm in a really awesome position right now as a creative person because I always get to explore and do different things depending on the album cycle I'm in the middle of. Well, initially I wrote songs. That's all I did. I mean, this record consumed me for months and months and months, so that was great. Other than that, I have learned to watch. I've learned the art of watching television, like a lot of us, and discovered there's a lot of great programs out there. And my wife and we adopted the neighborhood feral cat who has wandered around here. He's this beautiful black cat that has just wandered the neighborhood for like the last year. And we're like, whose cat is that? And it's nobody's cat. He would just like get into people's garbage. And so we kind of befriended. Well, he really took to my wife, frankly. He adopted us. He adopted her. So now he's part of the family. Azrael, he's pretty rad. I perceive it as an opportunity to power down, reconnect with fans. I've been touring now, like the year prior to when everything shut down. I was on the road for 300 days that year. So this is an opportunity I haven't had in a long time to wake up in my bed every day and have a routine and just reconnect, but also to write and create and try and evolve as an artist. So yeah, it's something that I've tried to take full advantage of. Yeah, I always warm up. I got to do my vocal warm up. You will never, ever, ever catch me walking on stage without doing my at least 15-minute vocal routine. And I think it warms up my voice, but it's also because I am a little bit superstitious that if I don't do it, it's going to be a horrible show. As far as artists go, there's a lot of good music out there, but there's a rock band that I really like from here in the States. They're young and they just put out another body of work, and they're called Dirty Honey, and they're like, they've got a little bit of Aerosmith. They've got a little bit of I don't even know how to explain it, but they've got an amazing singer, an amazing lead guitar player, and an amazing rhythm section. So they have all the boxes checked, and so that's a rock band I'm really getting behind. Oh, every morning it's the same thing. It's a half. So I take like one like wheat. It's like a wheat sort of some sort of. It looks like hay, and it's super healthy. And then I pour some Cheerios on top of that, and I cut up a banana, and that's with a little cup of coffee, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, to me, rock star is like larger than life. They've got like this persona and they dress very, very flamboyantly, or they have a thing that they do on stage that is, there's an element of danger. And I've always said that I'm about as dangerous as a batch of Shih Tzu puppies. There's no danger there. It's just, I just love making music. I've always kind of looked at myself as, a musician or a songwriter, more than anything. I'm going to start a lawn business. I'll come mow your lawn. No, I'm joking. When it's all said and done and the phone stops ringing and no one wants me to come play anymore, I'll mow your lawn. No, I think this is it. If I can balance all three of these things as long as possible, I'll keep doing it. Yeah, things are getting better. I'm supposed to get on stage in about a month, and we got 4 shows here in the States. That will be interesting. So keep my fingers crossed that goes smooth, right? And then, yeah, I definitely miss it. I definitely miss more than anything. I just miss seeing the fans. Some of our fans will literally go to every single show. They'll travel all over the world. They're like deadheads, and so I miss seeing a lot of those folks and the folks in various cities around the globe. So good to be getting back to it.
Antenne Sylt. Bester Rock and Pop.